So yes, I didn't record the introduction. I do apologise, everybody, but I'm going to go into depth into each of the points that I talked about in the introduction now, and it is recorded. So welcome if you are just watching the recording. There we go. So let's talk about belief in the benefits of what it is you want to be doing in order to take care of yourself better, in order to promote your healing, in order to help yourself, your well-being and your happiness. So we need to not just sort of believe it on a head level, we need to convince our subconscious that this self-care will benefit us. And that's because we have loads of patterns of behaving that are automatically programmed because at some point in the past they were beneficial to us. And so to save energy in terms of all the information processing that we do, our subconscious creates these automatic pilot behaviors. So we have to convince our subconscious that whatever self-care we're aiming for is really going to benefit us. So first of all, we need to do that on a conscious level, then we need to practice it, and then we need to really make sure you pay attention to the evidence that this new belief actually is working for you. Now, you can strengthen that by aiming to reach your subconscious in other ways. So I'm going to talk about that a little bit. So consciously, how and why is this thing going to work? Do you believe in why and how, and what's the theory behind it? What are you doing it for? So for example, drinking lots of water. The theory behind that, or the why and the how, is, for me anyway, it's all about flushing out the toxins in my body. It's about making sure that my lymphatic system can work possibly, because it's a circulatory system without a pump. And in order to be able to work properly, I need to be hydrated so that my body movements can move my lymphatic fluids around my body. And that's all part of my immune system. So it's promoting my immune system as well by keeping my lymphatic system healthy. It's the knowledge that my body is about 90% water or whatever it is, and that I need to keep my cells healthy by keeping them hydrated. So having a belief that it's a worthwhile pursuit is really, really important, but really paying attention, being conscious of why. When we just think, oh, I know I should drink lots of water, but without really thinking about what's it doing for you, why do you want to drink lots of water, it can make a big difference. So do you have evidence, and could you pay better attention to the evidence? So for example, my evidence of hydration is that I often wake up with a headache, but the first thing I do in the morning is I drink a couple of mugs of hot water with lemon. And I know that after I've drunk those 2 mugs of hot water and lemon, I always feel better. So I've also had a couple of weeks ago when I was really, really good at drinking lots of water. In fact, I was drinking probably between 3 and 4 litres a day, including my herbal teas. And I was drinking over 3 litres of just water. And actually, that was the week that I felt the best that I've felt for a really, really long time. So I have evidence, and I need to keep paying attention to that evidence to show my body that this is a worthwhile pursuit. Now, some things may not be a theory, or you might not grasp the theory properly, or you might not even have lots of evidence, but you have faith. And in order to have faith, you have to think about, well, what is it that gives me my faith? So one thing I have perhaps more faith in than real understanding of the theory is Donna Eden energy exercises. Now, I do have a bit of evidence that when I do them, I feel better. But also, the faith comes from the fact that I choose to believe that we are made up of a system of energy channels. And the reason I choose to believe that is that when I first got sick with ME, medicine did absolutely nothing for me. The medics couldn't offer me anything to make me feel better. And the first things that actually helped me feel better were acupuncture and Tai Chi. And they supported this belief and this faith that there are other ways of looking at health, and health can be perceived as a balance in your energy systems. And so much later on, I found Donna Eden and I started doing her exercises. But for me, that was much more about faith than about actually understanding every single energy system in my body and how they work. So I have this faith that Donna Eden knows her stuff, even if it just seemed very weird. I believe in her. I trust her. I have faith in her, and it fits with some of my experience. So it can either be something that you have a theory of and evidence of, or it can be something that you have a lot of faith in, but something that you really, really do can believe in and can have that faith in. So one of the things that can help is to imagine what if you had a stronger belief, or if your faith was even stronger, what do you think would be the impact of that? So maybe just take a moment right now thinking about a particular part of your self-care routine or self-help that you'd like to do better, and just imagine what you think would be the impact if you had a stronger belief in the benefits of that practice. If you really thought it was going to get you somewhere, if you really had faith it was going to get you somewhere, how would that change? How would that change things for you? I'm just going to have a bit of water. So, and then ask yourself, wouldn't that serve you better? So it really doesn't matter too much whether the belief or the faith is true if it's going to work for you better. Okay, so if you think about, if I really believe in this, it's going to make me do it more often. And if I do it more often, I'm going to get more benefits. So yes, it's going to serve me better. So I'm going to see if I can find the chat box. Yes, Sharon would be more motivated to do it. And Lorraine thinks it would become a natural priority, like cleaning your teeth is. Absolutely. Wonderful, Lorraine, Sharon. So another way to help your unconscious get the message is to aim to visualize your life as it would be with the benefits of you doing these practices more consistently, with more belief, with more faith. The other thing to look at as well is just to question whether you have any limiting beliefs. So do you have any beliefs about your ability to be more consistent? Do you have any limiting beliefs about your ability to make a difference to your well-being? So it's really about looking at, are there any sort of unconscious filters that come from underlying beliefs that are getting in the way of you wanting and choosing to do all of this? And again, if you do find that you have some limiting beliefs, so for example, whatever I do might help a tiny bit, but it's not going to really get me better, that's a limiting belief. Now, what you want to do if you uncover a limiting belief like that is think along the lines of, what is going to be the impact of me continuing to believe that? So the impact of you continuing to believe that is things aren't going to change. You're probably going to continue with your self-care being at a very similar level to what it is now. That probably is going to mean that things are going to be less joyful, that you're going to have less progress. Really look at particularly what's the negative impact of staying stuck with that limiting belief. And then think about a more powerful alternative belief, something like, if I just keep making consistent steps, even though I might only make really small amounts of progress, that progress can add up and add up and add up and add up. So if you can shift your belief to that, have a look at, well, what would be the impact of believing that? If you really believed that, where would that take you? And if you can sort of spend some time imagining that, that is going to give a good message to your subconscious. One thing that I read just in the last couple of days was the idea of the 1 degree change. Now, it's really a nautical reference. So Lorraine, you'll probably know this. But the idea is that if you just start off and you change your course by 1 degree, that might not seem very much, but if you keep moving in that direction, after 20 minutes or so, you'll be way off course. So really, really thinking about that in terms of how it could have a positive result. So if you just change your course by 1 degree, just think that after a long time, how much progress that could make. So I'm going to have a quick look at the chat box. That got your attention, Lorraine. Wonderful. Or on an airplane, Sharon too. So I know both Sharon and Lorraine, and Sharon used to be a pilot. Lorraine used to do a lot of sailing before illness hit. So yeah, there it goes. So just think in terms of, if you can put a 1 degree change into your self-care, how much really that difference could make in the future. So yeah, so I'm just going to come back. This was a really important bit, so I've spent a bit of time with this. I'm just going to come back to check that there's no questions, check there's no hands up and things like that. So anybody want to ask anything about that before we move on? And I'll have another sip of my water. Sharon?
Well, I just wanted to make sure that Catherine got the chat box figured out, because she accidentally was sending chats to me privately. And I know she hasn't used Zoom before, so I just wanted to make sure she was all set on that and could communicate with you, especially Julie.
Good, cool. It looks like I can see Catherine has put something into the group chat now. So
she did it.
Yeah, thank you. Wonderful. Thanks, Sharon. So yeah, we shall move on then. Let's get going. Some of the other bits aren't as in-depth as that, so we're not in a rush. The next part is being mindful of attention. So once you've got your belief, your faith, and you really know what benefits you're going to get out of what you want to do. And one thing that you might want to take away from this is make a list of the things that you would like to be doing better with your self-care, self-help, self-healing, whatever you wanted to call it. And then for each one of those, make a list of why you believe it's going to be beneficial and what benefits are you going to hope to get out of it. When you know what those benefits are, every time you sit down to do it, you want to set your intention for why you're doing it, because that will help you feel more grounded in the practice. So for example, when I sit down to meditate, I tell myself, I'm sitting to meditate to calm my nervous system, to optimize my conditions for healing, and to support more restful sleep. Okay. When I start my yoga, I tell myself, I'm doing this to help me relax. I'm doing it to help stretch out my muscles and to keep me flexible. And I'm doing it because I believe that it will align my energy channels and help bring balance to them and support my health. I'm also doing it to connect my mind, my body and spirit, and to connect with a sense of oneness. So aim to have a set of intentions ready off pat for the activity that you want to do. So one of the other things that I'm doing is 15-hour fasting at the moment. So my intentions for keeping my food intake down to 10 till 7 is I'm doing this to go into ketosis, because that's more effective use of energy for a lot of people with illnesses like ME/CFS. I'm doing it because I know if I don't eat after 7 o'clock, I'll tend to eat healthier, because that's my bad time for when I kind of do the comfort eating. I'm doing it because I want to lose weight a bit. I'm doing it because I believe it will be healthy. So really choose what is the benefit that you want to get out of this. And when you do it, so for me, in fact, today it was at 6 because I know I won't be able to eat when I finish this. So it's like, right now, I'm not going to eat until 10 o'clock tomorrow morning or till 9 o'clock tomorrow morning, because I want that 15 hours fasting because of all those reasons I've just mentioned. So yeah, so make sure that you really recognize that intention, because it helps you really ground that practice and make it more important to you as you're doing it. So anchoring is all about anchoring what you want to be more effective at, something that's already a regular part of your day. So a regular part of your day might be as soon as you get up. So for me, I anchor my Tai Chi and then my meditation to as soon as I get up. In fact, it's get up, get my hot drink ready, start my Tai Chi, drink my hot drink, do my meditation. So they're all anchored together in a line, and they just happen. So it might be after you brush your teeth, it might be before or after meals, it might be after feeding the cat, it might be before you go to bed. Or if it's weekly, try and use something meaningful, like I'll do this on Monday because it's the start of the week, or I'll do it on Friday because it's the start of the weekend, or I'll do it on Sunday because it's the end of the week. So try and anchor your practice into something that's already a regular part of your routine, and aim to keep doing things in the same order to help them become more automatic as well. Now, my routines are incredibly supportive. I sometimes get really fed up of them. I get fed up of the lack of spontaneity and the kind of rigid structure to my day. However, whenever I let them slip and loosen, I notice how much less I have to get out of life. So it's really about aiming to sort of see that kind of routine and the anchors and the automaticness of getting things done as something that is going to not just take time and energy, but actually it's going to give you so much more out of life. So yeah, anchoring, very important. I did notice a message then. Let's see if it's going to come up. Here we go. So Lorraine finds anchoring one of the hardest as life, energy, or pain limits or prioritizes other issues, and then you struggle to get back on track. I think we have to be really compassionate to ourselves when things do go because something gets in the way. But at the same time, if we can get that belief strong enough that they really are going to go, and we're going to look at accountability and support structures as well, that it can all come together. So you want an ideal place for your things. You might not always be able to do it in that ideal place. Sometimes you might have to do it later, or sometimes you might have to just let it go. But have the ideal place so that you can get back onto it the next day. And I'm going to talk about accountability and support structures to help you get back onto it the next day if it goes wrong. So the belief and the support are the things that are going to keep it going. The anchoring is the thing that's going to help get it into something more automatic. But it won't be perfect to start off with. So let's have a look at what the chat's been saying. So yeah, Sharon and Catherine agree. Yeah, accepting a short meditation is good enough is another way that it's one of the things that I do actually is if I can't get a full meditation in, do a shorter one. If you can't sit up to do it lying down. Wonderful suggestions, Lorraine. So yes, it's get things anchored in if you can, but allow yourself to be flexible. Be compassionate about your needs. Listen to your needs. So, but know that this is something that you want to keep doing, and so if it doesn't happen today, you're going to get back on it tomorrow. Okay. And again, you have to go back to that belief in order to do that, and that belief that it only takes a small change. Okay, you might get knocked back to 0, but you can get back to the 1 degree and keep moving. So let's look at accountability and support structures. So things that will help you get your self-care going better. Having them on an electronic calendar. Okay, so even though I've been doing my yoga at a particular time every day for a long time and missing it sometimes, I still have a ding dong that goes off half an hour before that time, reminding me on my phone. So yeah, electronic calendars, phone reminders, post-its and visual reminders, especially when you're starting to introduce something new. Put post-its up somewhere that you'll see them. So for example, if you want to do a mindful practice when you are brushing your teeth, if you want to practice relaxed effortlessness while brushing your teeth, put a post-it next to your toothbrush, at least for the first week or so. Getting things started with post-its, visual reminders. For me, my most helpful one is a tick box that you fill in several times a day. I'm just going to see if I can find my tick box, although I must admit I haven't filled it in today, I don't think, or for a couple of days. So that's my tick box. And if you go to it, maybe I do it at meal times. If you go to it every meal time, then you can see, oh, I didn't do that. Can I fit it in later on in the day, even if I normally did it in the morning? If not, I'm going to try make a bigger effort to do it tomorrow. The other thing with tick boxes for me is I aim to get a certain number of ticks, but I'm very kind to myself about those ticks. And I also put things that I've already got down to pat on my tick box, so that I'm going to see some ticks already. Okay, so make sure that it's a really encouraging thing to do. You're going to be ticking off things that you're already doing and ticking off the new things and aiming to get more ticks. You can also set a reward for getting so many ticks. So I'm just going to, there's been a few comments, so I just want to have a look at the chat box, see if it's going to come up. So yeah, flexibility is great. It means it's less overwhelming when you can't do it. Yeah, we do. It is getting a balance between being flexible and anchoring. But if you make it something that's important enough, it can be done, and it can be done in a small amount, and then it can be extended again. But if you can try and anchor it to a particular time of the day, so that you know that's what you're going to do. Yeah, wonderful. So holding yourself accountable. Maybe I have a support group, and we all hold ourselves accountable in our support group by setting an intention for the week to come, and then at the end of the when we get back together the next week, we all talk about how well we got on with our intentions. You might have a coach to do that with, you might do it in a group, you might do it with a friend or a partner, but really let that person know, I'm intending to do this. And next week, I'm going to tell you whether I did it or not. Okay? You might want to do it with somebody who's doing the same thing. So it might be, when I'm in Spain, I have a friend who I go walking with quite often, or not walking, but when I do my sort of daily strolls or whatever. So we encourage each other to go out for that walk. So sometimes if I'm not feeling too motivated, I'll say to her, it's time for a walk, I'm not really up to it, but are you up to it? And she says, yeah, come on, let's go. And we'll encourage each other like that. So holding each other accountable can be just planning to do something at the same time with somebody else, or it can be just telling somebody of your intention and then making a date to feedback on whether you made that intention or not. But obviously it needs to be somebody kind and compassionate and understanding, because the worst thing we can do with all of this is become a bully to ourselves, or allow these support structures to become bullying. The compassion has to come first, although if you have compassion and motivation, they will work really well together. Okay, you can be highly motivated and take some time off when you need to take it because your body's just not up to it, and then get straight back on. Okay, so but yeah, all of these support structures will help. So really, another part of not bullying and not being hard on yourself is don't set your aims too high. Allow them to be easily achievable. If you're starting to meditate and you want to meditate every day, set your aim for 4 days a week. And then after succeeding with that a couple of times, set your aim for 5 days a week and build it up like that. Okay. Make sure you schedule in the feedback to your accountability partner, and schedule in reviewing your progress as well. So maybe once a month you want to look back and think, how far have I come? Am I getting better at this? And is it paying off? So I'm going to have a quick look at the comments before I move on. Yeah, that's a really good point, Catherine. Catherine's talking about kindness and patience are needed from others. So most don't understand unless they've experienced it themselves, that we do need that kindness and patience. So yeah, if you're going to set yourself an accountability partner, it has to be somebody who will understand that if you have a dip, you have to let yourself off. Okay, when there are times just when we can't even do that sort of self-help. It's more caring to our bodies, more caring to ourselves as a whole if we let it go for a day or two. So yeah, it's got to be somebody who does understand that. Really important. And you need that patience and compassion for yourself too. Absolutely, Catherine. So yeah, let's move on to trust, joy, and gratitude. Now, why are these important to getting things done? So basically, it's really, really important that we don't get too attached to the outcomes we're looking for in a particularly in a particular time frame, because that can lead to a lot of disappointment, and that can lead to us not wanting to do more. So basically, at the end of each practice, so whether that's meditating, doing some yoga, drinking some water, what you want to do is remind yourself to trust that it is having a benefit, whether or not you can see it. So basically, at the end of my yoga, I'm thinking, I'm actually not just reminding myself to trust, I'm feeling grateful to myself for doing something beneficial for myself, and trusting that that benefit is going to happen whether or not I can obviously notice it. One of the ways that can help you get detached from looking for specific outcomes and getting disappointed is to think about how things are making you feel better in the here and now. So when I've done my yoga, I usually do feel more relaxed right at the end of it, obviously at the end of it. Now, whether it's having a long-term healing benefit or not, who knows? Because I'm doing so many things, they could all be working towards it. But I focus more on the fact that, yes, I'm feeling relaxed now, I'm feeling grateful for this having happened, and I'm feeling trusting that it is going to bring me something. But I'm not looking at where that end result is and how I'm going to get there. I'm just trusting that it is moving me towards it. Okay, but particularly by focusing on the now. If you know that it's making the now better, it doesn't matter whether it makes the future better or not. Okay, so yeah, show yourself gratitude for working on your well-being, and stay connected with the joy of the moment and the joy of the life you have now. If you can look out for as much joy as possible, you are going to be attracting more of that. And we need to keep joyful about everything that we're doing, rather than getting into a sort of serious headspace of, I need to do this in order to get better because I need to be better. We need to be really much more about being in the here and now and enjoying what we've got and where we are as much as possible, because then it makes it easier to stay light-hearted about everything that we're doing, and to find the positives in life and want to keep moving, doing the things that will help. So yeah, showing gratitude to yourself. Lorraine hasn't, that's a new one for Lorraine. It is easier said than done, and it's not something, again, like the tick box, it's not something that's going to be 100%. It's just something that we aim for as much as we can, basically. And as we see the benefits of it, it will become easier and easier. So let's move on. Oh, before we do, actually, I think it's about time I came to see if there were any questions. Any questions about anything we've done so far? Out loud or typed, if it's easier to say it out loud. Sharon?
It can be challenging sometimes to not focus on, well, I'm doing this for self-care so that I can get better. You know, and that, so the benefits are going to be getting better, but you still have to have that detachment of, it's a tricky line there, isn't it?
Make it your self-care about today.
Yes.
Okay, I'm doing this for self-care because it will have this benefit, and maybe the benefit that you're kind of hoping for is a long-term benefit, but how is it benefiting you today?
Right. Yeah.
So think of one thing that you do for your self-care, Sharon.
Oh, you want me to tell you now?
Yeah.
Well, I do a lying down meditation twice a day. Yeah.
So what's the long-term benefit that you're aiming for when you do that lying down meditation?
Well, I'm getting good quality rest for my body.
Yeah.
And I'm quieting my mind and relaxing, getting my body in a place of where it can heal itself.
Okay. So how valuable are those things to today?
Very valuable.
Okay.
Yeah.
So even though you want it to be something that heals you, which is a future goal, there are lots of benefits and value in doing it for how you feel today.
Yes.
So that's what we want to try and focus on. We might have a benefit that's more long term, but in the moment, to keep that joy, we want to look at how it's going to be benefiting us today, because everything that will benefit us today is going to benefit us long term.
Yeah, that's very true.
So if we can really keep the attachment out of it by focusing on the now, then the future is going to naturally come better. Whereas if we allow the attachment in, it's going to take away some of the benefit of the now, and it's going to make the future benefit less effective.
True. Okay. True. This is a hard one for me. I mean, I am working on it, but it's a practice.
Yeah, it is a practice. But yeah, keep focusing on how is this benefiting me now, and try and really look at things like when you've done your meditation. How do I feel now that I've done that meditation? What does my body feel like now that I've done that?
Yeah, feels good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Even drinking water, I can immediately feel better after drinking a pint of water.
Yeah, and I do that in the morning too. I drink a big glass of water as soon as I get up, and I definitely feel better.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks, Julie.
Okay, thanks, Sharon. So let's get back to it, unless there are any questions. So yeah, recognizing progress. So, okay, we do want to focus on the benefits now, but one of the things that we do need to be able to think about is how are we going to recognize progress? What is it going to look like? Because progress happens quite slowly often. And if we're really, really looking out, if we sort of want to get to a particular place, which we're trying not to, we can recognize what it might be like to be fully healed, but what will it look like to have just to be 10% better? Okay, what's that going to be like? So how will you recognize it? What kind of milestones can you look out for and celebrate? So for me, good self-care actually leads to me being more effective at doing my self-care. So my tick box is part of what shows me I'm making progress, because if I get to the point that I'm making more ticks, it's because I'm feeling better. The better I'm feeling, the better I am at my self-care, and it kind of feeds into it. So, for example, I'm going to get my walk ticks in, my yoga ticks in, my connecting with nature ticks in. I'm going to get a lot of my ticks in my tick boxes only if I'm doing physically well. So for me, I use my tick box not just as to recognize the action that I'm taking, but I also know that if I am taking more action, then I am doing better. Okay, so if I have a week where I do actually manage to go out for a walk 5 days and do my yoga 5 days in the week, then I know I must have been feeling quite well that week. Okay, so have a look at how are you going to tell that you are making progress. Another thing, some things are quite easy. For example, with my healthy eating, my fasting, I am aiming to lose a bit of weight as well. So that's a really easy one to look at, because I can tell I'm making progress when I am losing weight. You can tell you're making progress when you can walk a little bit further. You can tell you're making progress when things don't feel as heavy, when things become easier, when you feel a lightness in your body. So really look out for what are going to be the signs of your progress, not of the end results, but what are going to be the signs that you are moving through the gap between where you are and the end result. And really focus on just being able to recognize I am moving. Not on how far you are away from the destination, but look, I am moving. So yeah, let's have a look, see what's being said about this one. Yeah, clearer head, less brain fog. That's a really good sign of progress. So yeah, I would say you're not looking about reaching your goals, Catherine. You're looking at how can you see that you are moving forward. Now, it's very difficult to recognize progress when you're in a crash. And if I crash, for me, it's about just letting go of the need for progress. Even actually, it's more when I'm in a crash, it's much more about saying, this is me being off sick. This is me having to take really good care of myself right now in terms of rest and recuperation. I might not be able to do my yoga. I might not be able to do all of this. But for me, what I've noticed is as my self-care gets better, one, I'm less likely to crash because I recognize signs that I'm getting tired and I don't push myself too hard. Also, my self-care has meant that my immune system has improved. So first of all, I'm less likely to crash. But also, if I do, I find that I bounce back from it quicker once I really take the time off and give myself some space during that time. During a crash is not the time to be measuring your progress. It's not the time to be trying to do everything that you would normally do for your self-care. It's really a time to be thinking, how much can I rest? And maybe just focusing on the real basics like eating as healthily as possible, and keeping you well hydrated. Does that answer the question, Catherine? Yeah, good. So I've got a couple more slides I want to talk about. So let's move on. Attention to achievements and results. So we're not looking just for the progress, we're also looking at, I did this 5 days this week. So make sure you celebrate your victories with your accountability partners. Make sure you celebrate your consistent actions. Yes, I drank 2 litres a day every day. Make sure you celebrate your ticks in your box. Make sure you celebrate reaching your milestones. Hey, look, I'm feeling really light in my body today. That's a milestone. Let's celebrate it with something. Give yourself a reward. Set yourself a reward. Get used to saying to somebody, I'm really pleased that I feel like this today. And it comes from the fact that I've been doing a really good job at my self-care. Journal your evidence for your progress. This is another way of paying attention. So really journal. I'm really pleased that I'm here today and I'm pretty sure it's because I've been doing this, that, and the other. Remember to value tiny achievements. I'm going to use the analogy of the strong man versus the marathon runner. Remember, you don't expect the strong man to run 26 miles when he's pulling a truck. It's amazing that he pulls it 100 meters. Okay, we are pulling a truck. So let's celebrate just getting 100 meters. All right, it's being able to look at just tiny achievements and feeling really good about them. And really show your subconscious that your action is paying off by paying attention to any tiny achievement or result. Let's see if... So yeah, for Lorraine, it's about noticing that she's drinking more naturally without having to think about it and prioritize it. So yeah, feeling that the meditation is more valuable, even in smaller amounts of time. Yay, great. So a quick note on motivation, all right? Motivation isn't something that's just an innate trait that we all have. And even if it was, chronic illness gets rid of that. But motivation can work in a very different way. Motivation is a result of success. So if you make your next step small enough that you can succeed, once you've succeeded, you'll want to take the next step. So this is really, really important to keep motivated. Make sure that you are asking yourself to do something really easy. So yeah, make the step tiny, make it easy to succeed. Once you've done it, you'll want more of that feeling and you'll take the next step. Another thing that can help with motivation is to find a role model for consistency. Who's getting results? Who's doing things consistently and getting somewhere? Try and surround yourself by people who are actually getting there. That's been working really, really well with the support group recently. In the last few months, there's been loads of celebrations, loads of people setting intentions and getting positive results from their intentions. And when you hear those stories, you feel more motivated to do it yourself. So yeah, get yourself surrounded by other people who are taking tiny steps consistently and it's paying off. And remember that you are worth the investment of time and energy in this. So that is that is most of it. I'll come to questions in a minute. What I would like to just tell you about is what I've got coming up. So next week, I was going to start it this week, but I'm afraid I'm postponing it until next Monday. Starting Monday the 13th of August, I'm going to be doing a free Boost Your Belief, Maximize Your Motivation challenge. It's 5 days and it will start next Monday. And if you want to sign up for that, you can do it at this link. I'll put it in the chat box in a second. In fact, I'll put that in now. Sharon and Lorraine are both part of my support group. But if you are interested in that, email me, Catherine. It is a really good way of staying on track. So I am just going to put that in the chat box if you want to sign up for that challenge for next week, which really is all about helping you really believe and feeling motivated to keep taking those tiny steps forward. It's all part and parcel of, we'll be using different strategies from what I've been sharing today, so additional strategies to what we've been talking about. Donna Eden, shall I see if I'll see if I can get you a link to her 11-minute video, which is about daily energy exercises that only take about 5 minutes once you learn how to do them, and I really enjoy them. So I'll get that link up to you in a minute. We'll just come to this one as well. Yeah, I'd love it if you could fill out this brief, copy. Fill out this brief questionnaire about giving me a review for today's workshop that I can put on my website. It takes 4 or 5 minutes to fill out maximum. That would be really helpful. And you can also give any suggestions for what you might want future workshops, the free workshops, to be about, because I do them once a month. I think it is now going to be the first Monday of the month they're going to fall on. The other thing that I also kind of hold my hat out at the end of the free workshops to help me keep them going, just if you felt that it's being worth the price of a cup of coffee, you can use my PayPal me button and offer me a little tip if you'd like to. So I will just find the Donna Eden energy exercises link for you, Catherine. But in the meantime, while I'm just looking at that, has anybody got any questions? That's the one. Might be a second. Oops. Stop. Copy. And paste. There we go. So yeah, no hands up. Nothing chat into the chat box. Yeah, so that's it for today. Thank you very much for joining me. Thank you for interacting. Yeah, I hope all the people who watch the recording, I'll have it live for a week or so, will enjoy it as well. I may run this class again after I've done the 5-day challenge. But yeah, thanks so much for showing up today. Take care, everybody.